Hello, my name is Aaron Treadway. I am currently studying to get a Master's of Emergency Management from Jacksonville State University, and this is my semester project for the preparedness class EM 545. As a meteorologist, I already know that there's a lot of collaboration that goes on to make a community disaster ready, and I very much wanted to dive into that and see the different stakeholders and how they benefit from partnerships and collaboration, which bred my project here, Building Partnerships in Planning, the importance of a disaster ready community. So really the introduction is just, as I said, collaboration benefits everybody in a disaster, from local emergency managers to businesses to various community groups, and then as they work together, the public as a whole begins to benefit. And these benefits include building trust, especially among the stakeholders that have to work together in a disaster, knowing names, knowing the modes of operation very much helps build the trust there. As the collaboration continues. Open communication allows for the sharing of this information freely. No one tries to hold on to it. No one tries to just kind of do everything. And speaking of that, the distribution of tasks and resources as this collaboration grows, instead of one stakeholder doing everything, like the local EM being in charge of everything, they're able to delegate the tasks. They're able to let different people do different things, especially the relevant tasks to the various stakeholders. Gets the responsibility on the stakeholder rather than the EM doing everything. And that just leads to better overall preparedness so that everybody knows what everybody is doing, everybody knows what their job is, everybody can stay in their lane and do their thing in a disaster while also working together. So first, looking at the emergency management organizations and how collaboration benefits them. The first thing is that it ensures that all hazards are covered. Involving other stakeholders for the emergency manager allows different perspectives of the local emergencies, the local disasters. Maybe a certain hazard, say flash flooding or tornadoes, impacts one stakeholder a certain way, and maybe even more than others. So that ensures that all the hazards are covered there. Then involving the public is an important next step. Here locally, they're currently redoing their emergency action plan and their hazard mitigation plan and hazard analysis. And after all that's been formally done with the emergency managers and all the stakeholders, then the public is being brought in to be able to share their input, to be able to ask questions, and very much see what the community is doing. So that lets the public know how they're being protected, lets them ask questions, again, point out hazards. After that's done, then educating the public and the stakeholders is a very important next step. So the planning is done, the input is done, but now it's okay. Now we all need to be on the same page, know what the plan is, and practice the plan. And very much according to Dunaway and Shaw, there is a clear correlation between these collaborative partnerships that form and preparedness. A part of that education is drilling and testing it. These are the tabletop exercises that emergency managers and other organizations do. It brings everybody to the table, lets everybody see how their parts fit together, and it's very much a continuous process because things change, procedures change, hazards change, especially season to season, where it might be winter weather one season, then flooding, and then drought, and then another severe weather season. So everything is changing. These joint exercises, though, allow everybody to talk, allow that collaboration to strengthen, allow that trust to strengthen as everybody comes to the table in very much a low pressure situation. This is where they can all get together under one roof and run through the plan without there being full-on lives at risk, so that everybody can kind of concentrate on the plan, not, oh my gosh, we have to rescue that person and this person and do this. It's more, hey, let's get this plan down packed, and then we can know that we can execute it. Businesses in the public sector. Businesses are impacted a lot by various disasters, especially after the fact. So these are things that they have to plan for ahead of time, like labor shortages if there are evacuations, or a lot of injuries, damages to the businesses themselves, what's your plan to rebuild, and delay in population return. As was seen with Katrina and others, especially with hurricanes, it takes a long time for that population to filter back in, and some may never return. So all these things have to be factored into business planning for disasters. Unfortunately, it was found in one 2012 study that businesses are mostly left on their own um, when it's coming to preparing for this, and that's not collaborative. That's very much a bad thing. So getting the local involvement is very much key for them. The support of the community, especially local emergency managers, and it was found in another study that the local officials are more in tune with the local businesses, while more state and national emergency management officials tend to concentrate on stability and infrastructure. So it's really getting the local involvement of the local EMs, the local groups, to help strengthen the business preparedness that's key. So there is very much significant challenges in getting these organizations to concentrate on preparing, mainly because they're concentrating on making money, and that's the focus. But they also have to have in the back pocket a continuity plan so that they know what's going to happen if there's a population shortage, if the business is damaged. They have to be prepared for that, and it's very much a shared responsibility. Where the resources are widely distributed. But one of the great examples of this is the National Weather Service Storm Ready program. So this is weather specific, but it's very much the National Weather Service coming to the table and helping hospitals, universities, a lot of the public sector organizations, big shopping malls, etc. Be storm ready, and that's have a plan, make sure they get weather warnings, make sure that they really know about the weather. And so that's really getting them halfway there of, hey, at least be aware of the disaster, then being able to respond to it, being able to plan for the business side is then up to you. So there's one collaborative effort going on. Lastly, basically, the group of volunteers, the faith-based groups that respond, again, after the fact, but again, all this requires planning. And these volunteers, because most of them come from the community, it's really the bridge across the demographics, and it's really the focus to the local community. And so one of the big things is that these volunteers help the officials, whether that's the volunteer officials, whether that's the emergency managers, know who's most at risk and know who needs the resources. It's like, hey, I came from kind of the poor side of town, or maybe just the part of town with the lowest water table, or that's in the floodplain. It's like, these are the people that are flood first. I'm a volunteer, but hey, this is where the resources need to go. And really, it was found that the ad hoc approach of gathering volunteers isn't really that beneficial, because then you might get one demographic or two demographics where you really need that diverse volunteer base to be able to reach everybody. And that's where the collaboration comes in, is because then you have everybody involved. You have the collaborative spirit among the volunteers, and you have that information flow out to the businesses, out to the emergency managers, of where the risks are, of what the local perspective is, what the local feel is of the disaster going on. One bridge to this that is already in place are local Cert groups. So these are groups that are specifically trained by emergency managers and others to respond and help during disasters, especially help the emergency managers. So this is already out there, and it is one demographic, one of the volunteer groups, but it's already there, and they bring a certain perspective to the table that can help. They know what the community is, but are also very involved with the emergency managers. So one thing as organization among these tons of volunteers continues is that technology is taking a larger and larger role via that social media, planning boards, social and internet dashboards of where the disasters are taking place, organizing these disasters that have volunteers all across the field, and so those volunteers know what their job is very key, and that's where technology is coming in. And then the other thing is, especially as we learn more about these various disasters, whether that be hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes, what have you, is we're not just bringing in disaster preparedness experts. We're not just bringing in emergency managers or businessmen, but it's the actual scientists, the actual researchers, the people who know and have expertise in these various disasters are also coming to the table and helping communities plan, sharing their knowledge, and very much adapting to the way that people learn. And so that's very much key, especially for these scientists and researchers who often talk at a higher level. to be able to explain the disaster and its impacts in a way that most people relate to. One case study that I wanted to quickly run through is the National Weather Service, because as a meteorologist for them, I very much see this type of collaboration every day. Some of the things that we do, the Storm Ready program, as I've already talked about, for businesses, malls, hospitals, universities. We also, every spring especially, go out and train the public and emergency managers and businesses and basically whoever wants it in severe weather training. And it's called the Skywarn program. And very much we go to basically whoever requests it, and we'll go and give them weather education. And it's not just, hey, this is a tornado. It's, hey, how do I respond to a tornado? What should I be looking for? How should I protect myself? A lot of the coastal officers do that for hurricanes and the other various threats. And then also we're adapting the way that we give our warnings so that people can respond to them better. Very much it was found that people respond different ways, especially when those warnings specify the threats, when they encourage a specific action. So we have now changed to what are called impact-based warnings, where we're basically keying in on that, hoping that people, when they get the warning, act more. But this is what it all boils down to. Even as the collaboration goes, even as everybody prepares for a disaster, there is still a primary personal responsibility. So Dosworth, Moeller, and Brooks found that local communities and citizens, public officials, have to accept that primary responsibility for preparing the communities to deal with weather-related disasters. So as the collaboration goes on, there is still a very big element of personal responsibility. So in conclusion, partnerships very much benefit everybody. Working together helps all phases of the disaster. So having that preparedness plan helps the response, recovery, and mitigation go more smoothly. While there is that element of personal responsibility, especially when we get down to the public level, person to person, as businesses or community and faith groups as a whole, or the emergency management community, working together as a community as a whole, there is some shared responsibility that goes on there, especially through information sharing, growing trust, knowing what everybody's doing, and very much teamwork, accountability, and those shared resources all contribute to the preparedness of a local community. So that's it. If there are any questions, feel free to email me. There's my email. I am a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Central Texas, and again, I'm pursuing my master's in emergency management. Here are some of the sources that I used in this paper, and feel free to check out my full paper where I go in depth about a lot of these topics. Thank you very much.